This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, September 16th. I am here with Lindsay, Al, Brandon. I'm on the wrong camera, but I'm Tori. Hey. Let's get right to it. Hey, guys, how you doing?
What's up?
Everybody good? Well?
Yeah.
I'm excited. Lindsay.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
I'm excited to have these conversations. Let's get to it.
All right. Let's get on the right camera. All right. Supreme Court scandal. A new accusation of sexual misconduct against Justice Brett Kavanaugh has both sides freaking out, with some calling for his impeachment. The New York Times ran an opinion piece over the weekend, adapted from an upcoming book. It exposes an incident that reportedly took place at a party while Kavanaugh was at Yale. Now, he allegedly shoved his genitals towards a female student. But as Fox News points out, the New York Times had to update its story because it left out the fact that the accuser does not recall the alleged assault. That did not stop a number of Democratic presidential candidates from calling for his impeachment. Let's take a look.
The American people deserved better. And given the fact that it appears as though Brett Kavanaugh lied under oath, which is a crime, I think that he has disqualified himself for service on the Supreme Court.
What's the remedy for that?
He should step down or he should be impeached.
So let's start with this. Do we think that the impeachment is too soon to call it, since they basically had to do a retraction saying the woman herself doesn't remember the incident?
Yeah, I think the Democrats are on the campaign trail, so obviously they're doing what they want to do, is get in front of the story. And so I understand that, but I think it was a bit feisty because we're now in a position where we don't even have the book. It's out tomorrow. So none of them have read it. None of us have read it. So we don't have the information. And a lot of these articles that we were talking about are excerpts from the book that nobody has read. And so it just seems like until we have the full story, let's let the proper authorities do their job and prosecute however they feel.
Yeah, because it plays into that. When we talk about media outlets, people want to be first. They don't want to be right. It seems like that's what the world we're in. And then we and Democratic candidates or whomever, we get this information from a New York Times story, which you read every day. You do the thing in the crossword.
Call the crossword. Yep.
Yes,
yep.
You do that in the back. That's a reputable source for us when we're talking about what we're going to talk about on the platform that we have.
It was a big retraction.
So that's a huge retraction.
But it's good to note that this was in the opinion section of the New York Times. So it wasn't in the news section, but still the New York Times is a reputable source.
Yes.
So any person reading it is going to say, okay, I might take this as fact.
Yeah.
And so that's the scary part.
Well, here, Al, what do you think about this? The FBI and the Justice Department, just so you know, heard from these witnesses, right? And neither of them made a call to these people. And they said it's because we were told by up on high to just interview 4 witnesses. Do you think that calls for an investigation into the Justice Department, into why they didn't do any look?
I don't think this is going to change anything.
Yeah.
I don't think what this is going to do, and this is what the Democrats always do, is they play right into the Republicans' hands, and that they're just going to fire their base up. They're going to say, see, they're going after our candidate. He's done nothing wrong. The person that was allegedly assaulted doesn't even remember this. And this is how they fire up that base and keep that. This is a losing issue for them.
So you think it will backfire or no?
Yeah, I think it already has. The fact that they're talking about it and they don't have hardcore evidence. I mean, we had hardcore evidence of a young man assaulting a woman at a college recently, and he was let off the hook. So how are we going to prosecute something from 30 years ago?
Interesting.
It's just not going to happen.
Another witch hunt.
Right.
Is what they could call it. Another witch hunt.
Which they could use, exactly. I also agree with you guys. I think this might backfire before we have all the evidence. But I would like to know why the Justice Department didn't look into these, or the FBI, because there was a lot
FBI only had a week the first time around to get everything in order. So they probably took their top witnesses and tried to make what they could of it.
But if the claims are right that they had only 4 witnesses they could look at, I'd like to know more about that. Well, guys, a giant new strike right now at GM. 50,000 auto workers have walked off their jobs as plants across the Midwest and South this morning. It's the first strike in more than a decade. Here is what workers are demanding, according to the Vice President of the United Auto Workers Union.
We are standing up for affordable, quality health care. We are standing up for our share of the profits.
Okay, so 2 different things are happening. One, GM is making billions now. We all bailed them out, right? And now they're not really paying their workers exactly what they think they should be owed. And secondly, the union itself is full of corruption. So those are 2 separate issues. Do they have a right, and should GM workers get a share in their own company?
Ideally, but this is what always happens. when you need to bail out a big company or give them tax breaks, they say, well, if you give us tax breaks, then we can hire more people, and that's going to stimulate the economy. What happens is you give them money or you bail them out, they keep all the money, and then they go, we don't know what you're talking about. Anytime it's time to start paying out that money, there's always a problem. And this is just a metaphor for life for anybody watching. Anytime somebody has an issue paying you, but they have money, you need to watch yourself. This is we see some pro sports all the time. Yeah. Take a pay cut for the team, and then in a couple seasons, we're going to take care of you, Brandon. You hurt your leg, and you're out the league.
So you're on the workers' side on this one.
Definitely.
Absolutely, because remember, you just talked about that bankruptcy. You just talked about that federal bailout. Who was there? The workers. The workers were still there working for this company. And we just did the story last month, I believe, when we were talking about how some of the top CEOs were talking about how companies should invest in their employees more. And what did we say? It all sounded like lip service.
And now maybe it is.
And now maybe it is.
All right, Lindsay, I got to get your take on this. What do you think?
I think that GM should pay their employees. I think that the auto industry is the baseline of American economy. Yeah. And so we need to really look at how we're treating employees after they've given the time. You know, they were going through a tough period for a long time, and some of those workers stuck out that whole period. And so I think you need to reward them by paying them. They're asking for shares in the company, not just $8 grand. And I think you asked me earlier when we were talking at our desk, should President Trump get involved? And I think it's not to the point of, he did tweet and got involved, but I think it's not to the federal level yet, that the company should just do what's incumbent upon them and treat their workers properly.
Because these are American jobs. These are American peoples. Remember, he called for a boycott to Harley Davidson where they were moving their plants overseas and all. Like you said, these auto workers and the car industry it's an American staple.
Yeah, all right, well, DBL, we got to know, are you guys with us or are you against us? Do you like the union striking? Do you not? Are you part of the auto industry? Write us in. All right, guys, moving on. A new photo right now of Felicity Huffman. Yeah, it's the first time the Desperate Housewives star was spotted in public since she was sentenced to 14 days in prison for her part in the college admission scandal. Meantime, some are calling her sentence too lenient, which a lot of you did last week. But singer John Legend is coming to Huffman's defense, tweeting, "I get why everyone's mad when rich person X gets a short sentence and poor person of color Y gets a long one. But the answer isn't for X to get more. It's for both of them to get less or even none." Also this morning, new reports that Lori Loughlin is, quote, processing Huffman's sentence and what that means for her. So 2 questions here for you guys. What does processing mean for Lori Loughlin? Sorry, I'm laughing because I think it's ridiculous. And do you think Legend's tweet, which I think is related to Tanya McDowell, I think we have a picture, she got 5 years in prison, unfortunately, for using her brother's address instead of her own. So do you think this is fair of what John Legend said? A lot of people are mad. A lot of people are mad.
Absolutely, because, I mean, for John Legend, this isn't going to fly well for people of color. I mean, let's be honest. You're talking about Tanya McDowell. You're talking about how Brock Turner gets off. Remember the swimmer from Stanford? Right. And he ends up getting off. People of color have been locked up for that prison for profit for quite some time now. So now it's that time. I get what he's saying, and I love what he does with Free America on how where he's saying we shouldn't just throw people in jail. But people are waiting for that pendulum to swing and to even out this social injustice.
Is the evening out, though, that they both get lesser sentences? Or does it have to be that they both get more?
It's an odd time to call for action, right? I think no one, or you're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody who feels bad for Loughlin or Huffman. I think that they're just like...
I so don't feel bad for Loughlin.
Yeah, I think it's tough to feel bad.
I really don't.
And it's hard because Loughlin doubled down, right? She said she didn't do it. And so at least Felicity Huffman showed some remorse and says, I want to be sorry. I'm sorry I put my daughter through this. She's like, hey, I'm going to go... I don't care about what I did, basically. I'm moving forward. And now I hope she feels like she's walking a tightrope almost to see what happens in her trial. I think we're all going to be watching and see how that plays out.
How much time do you think Lori Loughlin gets? In your dreams, how much does she get?
I don't know. I think she's going to get off, honestly.
Wow. What do you think?
About 8 months.
8 months?
Really?
So, yeah.
What do you think? Jeez.
She's going to get off.
Oh, I think she's getting years.
Wow.
All right, DBL, let us know what you think.
I mean, isn't it crazy how shocked we are when white women go to jail?
Yeah,
like, it's a national news story.
So true.
Like, does anybody here know one white woman that's gone to jail besides Martha? No. Yes, but I mean, like, do you have one in your phone? Like one white one. Have you ever seen a white woman getting in a squad car? I don't know if I've ever seen it. I've been to all 50 states. I don't think I've ever seen it once in my life.
It's like the Loch Ness Monster picture.
Yeah, I believe that over a white woman getting arrested.
Is this where the justice thing is? Because it's not about the admission scandal. It's because we've seen black people or people of color get this and white people get the total difference. And if we don't get the right sentence, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think that's why John Legend's tweet is going to fall to deaf ears when it comes to people of color.
I understand what he's saying.
I do too.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you guys think? All right, DBL's live coming up Our own Stephanie Jones goes one-on-one with a man who makes his living chasing down the world's most powerful hurricanes. So we gotta ask him, why? And you, the viewer, are our fifth host, a battle of the TV hosts, when James Corden slams Bill Maher for promoting fat shaming. But is America too PC when it comes to the obesity epidemic? Your comments, they're coming in next. Stay tuned, guys.
Hi guys, Kelly Schubert here with the DBL Digital team. Thanks for joining us today. We're so happy you're here with us on Daily Blast Live. I think we're going to go to the desk and see what the hosts are chatting about. Let's go talk to Lindsay. Lindsay, what's up?
What's up?
Happy to have you here. DBL Nation is so excited. They're all talking about you.
The dance mom chick.
Hey, hold 1 second.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be
guys.
here.
How are you guys?
Sorry, I got the wrong
We
camera.
just had our first segment.
Right before we
Let's
went
talk to
on.
Lindsay.
I'm excited to drink out of the DBL mug. I'm official, okay? This is just water, not coffee, because I cannot get any more hype.
It didn't seem like you were nervous at all.
Really?
No.
I put some essential oil on my wrist and
Now,
did a
you said
deep
you
breathe.
saged your place here in Denver?
Yeah, my dad wasn't thrilled because he has allergies, so I
Yes,
saged
I
the
can
whole
see that.
place. And he's like, so he stepped outside, opened all the windows, and so that didn't work out. But maybe next time, if your dad has allergies, sage when he leaves.
Yeah, and then you walked in and Jeray had saged
The whole
the
makeup room. Yeah, I like
No, no.
it. You guys have sage and crystals. That's all stuff that I
She
enjoy.
loves these crystals.
I
She's
tried
been
to
trying
tell
to give
Brendan
me
I'll
crystals.
bring him some crystals so he can have good energy. He said, I naturally have good energy.
Thank
That's
you.
why he don't have good energy.
Yes, I
If
do.
you want some crystals, some good vibes, just put one on your desk. Just
I'm
let me
down.
know.
I'll always take
Thank you,
I'll take
Al.
some
Thank
good
Tori
vibes.
if you want me to bring you a crystal.
I believe in crystals.
Just tell me.
I think I do.
Just give me a high five and tell me good luck. That's
What's
all
wrong
the
with one
good vibe
crystal?
I
Like,
need.
What if the crystal actually helps like by 1/10 of a 1%?
Even if it's placebo.
Or what if your pockets get lined randomly because I put the money crystal on your desk?
Well, then
Will you
put the
believe
money
me that?
crystal on the
wait,
desk.
no, he's like,
Don't
there's the
give me-
money crystal on my
Forget good energy. Give me the money crystal.
It's financial wealth, emotional wealth, mental wealth.
Thank you.
Liberty, liberty, liberty,
It's not like a
liberty.
commercial for crystals.
So the Browns are playing tonight, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, someone said, Stephen George, curious on how these Browns will do tonight since there's so much hype surrounding them. I thought those Browns were not good.
They
The
were
Cleveland
supposed to be
Browns.
good, and then they played last week, and people were like, "Oh, they're not good."
They're not good.
But that's why they play, because you have to see who's good.
When they say supposed to be, how do they know? If they just
Just
watching
looking at the
practice.
talent on your team,
Oh,
it's
like the
kind of
combo, you're like-
guesstimating, but it's all like guess. But you know, I'm a big Browns fan. I'm expecting to win tonight.
Boo.
Jets are depleted. We have
Jets
to get
are
this
the
one.
queen. Big Ben's out for the season now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host when we talk about what you're talking about. Okay, guys, two late night hosts are taking on the issue of fat shaming. Bill Maher first sparked controversy by saying this.
Being fat isn't a birth defect. Good. It's pointing out that fat is unhealthy. That's what's bad. Fat shaming doesn't need to end. It needs to make a comeback.
Ooh, but James Corden made the point that being lazy isn't the reason why there's an obesity epidemic, and he also said this.
Right, that any time I've met Bill Maher in person, he has been nothing but pleasant and kind and nice, which is why I found it so surprising that he or anybody thinks that fat shaming needs to make a comeback, because fat shaming never went anywhere.
This has us thinking, DBL Nation, are we too nice about obesity? All right, Lindsay, let's get you started. The first Fifth Host comment.
Okay, Michael from Facebook says, but fat people are lazy. If you are 300 pounds, I don't feel sorry for you. Okay, that's not always true. That's not true at all. We shouldn't say that. We should just understand there's a food industry that's putting a lot of bad foods into our body and other things that go into the program. So I don't agree. But thanks for the comment.
All right.
Awkward.
All right. Alexandria from Twitter says fat shaming is never okay. Why can't people ever just accept the way they are? Andrea, I think we're dealing with two different things, as we often are with a situation this complex. It's not about name calling. It is about bringing light to a public health crisis, and that's what we're dealing with right now. Shaming has nothing to do with this. You wouldn't shame somebody that had heart disease. You wouldn't shame somebody that had gout. You shouldn't shame somebody that's fat. What you should do is try and educate them on making better food decisions.
All right. Joni from Facebook says, Americans need to be less politically correct. Obesity is a real issue, and we need to address it. Joni, I think instead of calling it fat shaming, I think we need fat motivation or obesity motivation, because you see these plus-size models, as they call them, or whatever, and people are like, oh, you're trying to promote obesity or whatever, but these women work out. These women watch their diets and stuff. So some of it is genetic. Some people are bigger boned than other people. So I think we need fat motivation, because we have all these reality shows. People know what to eat by now. People know to get outside and get their steps in.
I think it's about can they get
I was just going to say, and can they afford it? I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Jefferson from Facebook says, you never know what kind of things people are going through. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. I agree. I love Bill Maher, but I think he went a little far, because I don't think fat shaming works. Shaming doesn't do anything. It makes you feel horrible, so you emotionally eat. Guess what? I've been there, so is my family. So fat shaming isn't the way to go. Making community gardens and healthier options a little bit less expensive might be a better option.
Yeah, health is the goal, right?
Yeah,
health,
I just think
healthy
shaming isn't the way to do it. But both were funny, so it's up to you. They're both comics. Let me know, DBL. Well, it's a Beatles reunion of sorts. The members remaining are coming together for a special project. Raquel Villanueva has news at this moment.
That's right, Tori. You can still get excited. Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr have gotten back together to record a song, but not just any song. It's a long-lost version of a track written by former bandmate John Lennon. Grow Old With Me was written by Lennon shortly before his death in 1980. This version of the song was introduced to Ringo by a producer, and Sir Ringo asked Sir Paul to also be on the song. They also added a line in from George Harrison's Here Comes the Sun, so in a way, all four Beatles are part of the song. It'll be featured on Ringo's new album, What's My Name, out on October 25th.
I'm really excited. I'm a big Beatles fan, but What's My Name? What a weird name.
Do Beatles albums still sell?
Very well, yeah.
Like McCartney's last one?
Oh, yeah.
So well?
I like some of his new songs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Early Days is great if anyone wants to download it.
All right, good.
Doing that right now.
Thanks. Are you?
He's still producing music.
Dude,
I think
he's
that's cool.
70-something. He's rocking out. Good for him.
I'm with that.
Thank you. Beatles. All right, coming up on DBL, a hurricane hunter who was actually reported missing during Hurricane Dorian. Chats with our Stephanie Jones, finds out why he puts himself in harm's way when DBL comes back.
Leo, our camera guy right here, his fresh new sneaks in the building.
Oh my God, how
Look at
clean are
these
those?
crispy
Sam Smith?
whites.
Are those Sam Smith? Or no, the green one's only Sam Smith.
I don't know. But he's
I had a whole
three
Adidas
stripes.
tracksuit on when I came in, but I thought that wouldn't be appropriate.
Al has this orange Adidas tracksuit that he wears. It's hilarious.
I like to be comfortable.
So let's keep on with this fifth host, fat shaming, because I think we should get rid of the word fat shaming and get into fat motivation. Like I was talking to Tori earlier, and I went and picked my little brother up from Maryland. We're driving. We stopped at a McDonald's. I want a coffee. I love their coffee. And there was this obese couple, and they had like supersized everything. And the lady was sitting there joking like, "Oh, I don't need to eat this." Blah, blah, blah. Oh, they're just joking about it. So that right there to me makes me know, she's aware of her situation, of her weight, and he is as well. So if I was to say something at that time, not saying I was, would that be fat shaming? Or if I was if I went up to them and told them, hey, you can get your steps in today, you guys can go for walks, that sort of thing, would that have been fat motivation or mind my business?
Information
my business.
Yeah,
mind my business.
No unsolicited information. But
I
I do appreciate people being healthy, like I said. So if there are calories on a menu, things to guide you, that's awesome.
Me? Really? Welcome back to DBL. For the past 28 years, Josh Morgerman has been chasing hurricanes. Yeah, that's right, chasing hurricanes. He rode out Dorian in the Bahamas, where he was reported missing after 2 days when the storm hit. Now, DBL co-host Stephanie Jones sat down with the hurricane man to find out what it's like experiencing Earth's most powerful storms. And that's in today's DBL Spotlight.
Josh Morgerman, welcome to DBL. What made you call Super Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines the craziest storm you've ever been in?
That one, the human impact of that one is just hard to describe even. So Super Typhoon Haiyan was basically about the same strength as Dorian. Thousands of people died in minutes, and you know, there I was while this was happening, and it was one of the it was one of those times where I just said, you know, forget filming this thing. I just threw my camera down and just jumped in the water to try to pull people out, because that's how desperate it was. And those moments are just burned in my memory. Haiyan was just was one of those chases I can't forget it.
Oh my gosh. Well, the first episode of Hurricane Man covers Hurricane Michael that hit Panama City, Florida last year. So what made that storm so devastating?
Panama City metro area is about 167,000 people. So when you think about it, that's a lot of lives impacted by a direct hit from this monster hurricane. This thing was really serious, and the impact was incredible. And 11 months later, the people in that region are still hurting and still need help.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I already know that you grew up on the East Coast and you witnessed lots of storms, and I'm just trying to work out, because most people get really affected by this and they get scared of them, but then this turned you into Hurricane Man. So explain that to me.
Yeah, you know, I don't totally understand it, but I did grow up on the East Coast, and we would get hurricanes on occasion. And, you know, even as a toddler, I remember just having this, like, reaction as a hurricane would approach, you know, as the house would start to shake, as the trees would wave. I just would kind of get excited, you know. It was just this experience that I craved, and I wanted it, and so I just started kind of hunting for it again and again.
Okay, so my question is, you've obviously got a hurricane mummy, right? Your mum. How on earth does she cope with what you put her through all the time? You must be any mum's worst nightmare.
In the early stages, my parents were very unhappy about it. They were just like, they'd get very upset about it. And then, you know, they sort of evolved over time. They're like, okay, this is our son. He's a nut. This is who he is. This is what he wants to do. So she has many layers of emotional scar tissue now, which protect her. And she's totally hardened now. Now she's like, now she makes fun of me if I chase a Category 1. So okay. Yeah, no, she's tough now.
Josh, you've been amazing. Thank you for joining us on DBL. Stay safe, please.
Thank you.
Josh, you're amazing, but you are crazy, brother. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
What's up, Beauty Blasters? It's your boy, Jeray for the Slay, and today I'm giving you guys some of my behind-the-scenes makeup tips. Now, it's Friday, so I want to make sure that we're feeling good and that we're looking fine, but sometimes those pesky brow hairs get in the way. You know what I'm talking about. Maybe you haven't trimmed your brows up, you haven't seen your good old brow girl in a while, whatever it may be, and you don't have any brow gel laying around the house either. What are we gonna do? Oh my goodness, I don't know, girl. Don't worry though, because I got the answer right here. So all you're gonna need is a little spoolie. You can typically find these guys at like on the bottom of your eyebrow brush if you have one from Anastasia Beverly Hills or Tarte, whatever it may be. Cute, cute, cute. Now, what you also need is a little bit of hairspray. Now, this is a big guy. You don't need a big guy like this. You can get a little bit of hairspray. Whatever you have laying around the house will do just fine. All you need to do for those untamed brows is spray a little bit on your spoolie there, or mascara wand, whatever you want to call it. Now, don't use the mascara wand in your mascara, because we're gonna have a whole nother issue, honey. Just use a clean spoolie or something on the end of an eyebrow pencil. After you spray that guy, it's like hairspray for your brows. Who would have thought? Now, this isn't gonna give you too much pigment, but if you have crazy untamed brows, or if your husband has crazy untamed brows, this is a great way to smooth out those little pesky brow hairs without getting too crazy or throwing a lot of makeup on. Once again, all you need to do is a quick and go ahead and lay it straight on the brow and brush them up in a uniform fashion. You can also do this with a little beard hair or even taming a little bit of a mustache. So let me know your guys' thoughts and let me know what other tips and secrets you guys want to know from my makeup stash. Until next time, have a great day.
DBL moving forward is going to be the most bold version of the show that anyone has ever seen. I think you've got to go big. You got to be brave.
We're going to continue to be who we are. We're going to continue to be real. We're going to continue to be authentic. We're going to continue to talk about the topics that make people really uncomfortable.
I just want to continue that chemistry between ourselves and the DBL Nation because I'm so appreciative of them.
We'll start to do that. People will start to talk, and we're going to see this whole show just mushroom cloud. Boom. Boom.
It's full speed ahead.
Boom, baby.
We always I feel like we should come back and be so like, oh yeah, but we're like, no, because we haven't seen it yet. So it's like authentic. Yeah, it's our first time seeing it. You
They
look
never
good.
react in real time.
I know. All right, you got some comments out?
I do. They're all about our girl Lindsay, Sierra Bergman. I think she puts it perfectly. She's writing us on YouTube, says, welcome to this crazy family, Lindsay.
I'm happy to be in it.
Awesome. Rebecca Avery on YouTube also says, loving Lindsay. And Naomi, our girl, she says, hello, DBL Nation. Love the new graphics, as do we, obviously.
Yeah,
Really cool
really like
package.
it. Big ups to the graphics team.
Jeff and Joel.
To Jeff and Joel and everyone who worked behind the scenes. This is the new panel. I just want to say, I hope we welcome you guys to this panel. We hope you guys have great trust in us. We have great trust in you. Bring the debate.
Show.
Bring it on. We're ready to take it, and we hope you have a great morning here with us at DBL.
Keep writing in as well.
We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye,
Welcome,
guys.
Lindsay.
We're so done.